video, we're going to be talking about how to set up a virtual lab. A virtual lab is a lab that has computers, but instead of them being in real life, they're set up on your computer. So the things you'll need in this lab are Virtualbox. You can get this on virtualbox.org and then go to downloads. You can then select depending on what OS you have, Windows, Mac, Linux, or Solaris. You can pick which version you want and you click download. You're going to need an image of Kali Linux. The next thing you'll need is Ubuntu 18.04. This is 64-bit only. If you're running on a 32-bit computer, you'll need to go and use 16.04. So the first thing we'll need to do is we'll open up Virtualbox. Once we open Virtualbox, we then select New. Going from guided mode to expert mode allows us to allocate memory and add hard drives. For this machine, I'll be using only 4 gigabytes of RAM. Use dynamically allocated if you have a little bit of space and you want it to increase as we put things into the machine. We'll do the same with Kali. Now we'll select Start. On boot up, it'll ask us to put the ISO in. When Ubuntu starts up, the disk will give you a chance to try as a live disk or install. For this tutorial, we'll use install. Select which keyboard layout you use and what type of updates you'd like. I'm selecting normal and also third party. If you're on a laptop, you may want to install third-party software depending on your Wi-Fi card and things of that nature. We're going to use the whole disk in order to install Ubuntu. Now we'll set up the credentials for this machine. Once you set up the credentials, the operating system will begin to install to your disk. Once the installation is complete, it will come to this screen and you will be able to restart now. Now before you do this, you want to eject the optical disk. Now click Restart Now. When the machine restarts, it will restart from Ubuntu on the hard drive rather than Ubuntu on the ISO. Once it loads up, you're able to log in with your credentials. And there you go. You have your first machine set up. So now that the machine is set up, we'll move over and install the Kali machine. We'll do the same thing as we did last time, and we'll scroll down to install. After it installs, it'll ask you to install or use a network mirror. This is a good idea because it makes you and lets you have packages that aren't necessarily on the CD. You should also install Grub. Now that the installation is complete, it's time to restart. We will then use the credentials we used and the root account to log in. Now that we have both of the operating systems installed, we're going to make sure they can communicate with each other so that you can use them in a lab environment. We'll do that by going and right-clicking on the machine, selecting Settings, and moving over to Networks. We will then go to the Adapter 2 and select the host-only adapter and hit OK. We will do those for both. Now that we have both of the virtual machines restarted, what we're going to do is use the terminal to see that they are actually interacting with each other. we'll use the command ifconfig to look at the network configurations. Because we set the host-only adapter to the second adapter, we look for the second network adapter, and we use those to make sure that they are on the same net mask. We can see that they're broadcasting from the same exact place. Now, to test to make sure that there's no doubt that they're able to communicate with each other, we will use the command ping. As you can see, 64 bytes are being received as a response from the ping request from Kali. This means that both Ubuntu and Kali are in communication with each other. Now that the lab's set up, you're now able to do whatever you want to do. You can communicate with each other, you can practice attacking each other, defending. Also, if you want to set up a Windows machine, do the same thing that I did, but instead of using an ISO for Linux, use a Windows ISO. So that completes the tutorial. Thank you and have a good day.